All right. Yes. All right. My apologies. I am running slightly late. I have a fantastic show. I have a very fantastic show. I'm very excited because I have a Patriots Superfan, and I didn't get a chance to, but after the show is over, I'm going to add his Instagram to the description below. That way you can follow him on social media. He has some really good stuff available. I am coming live, and I'm a little unorganized right now, but I'm coming live on Facebook. I'm live on Twitter, and of course I'm live here on YouTube. So I got the Homeland. What's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, man, hey, it's my pleasure. I'm really excited because I don't have a lot of Patriots fans that follow me. And you know what? I messed up, and I went in draft order because Monday is my video on the Patriots. I should have just flip-flopped the Patriots and the Vikings, and I should have done my video on the Patriots today. I should release that today instead of Monday. So my apologies. I didn't even think about it till a few minutes ago. I'm like, you know what? What am I doing? So I released my Vikings video. I should just switch the two. Red Sea, if you're out there, I'm doing the Cardinals Wednesday. I'm going to see if I can get him on. I'm going to see if I can get him on the show next week because I'd love to hear what he thinks about the Cardinals breakdown. And I want to hear what you think about my Patriots breakdown. But one thing I'm going to surprise you here. I sent you a message on Instagram. I had some questions I'm going to ask you. So I'm going to fire off with a question not on my list.
Okay.
I want to know what your opinion is. Josh Allen signed a mega deal. Question, what is your opinion? Question, is it worth it? Is he worth it? Is Josh Allen worth all that money? I think it's 6 years, $256 million.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And I'm kind of in sort of like what I'd call a limbo. From one point, it's like, cool, Josh Allen he's definitely proven that he can be worth that much money, but you also don't want to have a quarterback who signs a long extension but doesn't produce like he produced last season, because that's happened with numerous players outside of the quarterback position. So it's kind of like, I don't really know if he's worth it. I'll have to see how he does during the season, and then I'll start leaning towards he's worth it, or no, I don't think that was worth it. I think you really got to let the season play out and see how he does.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I don't blame Buffalo for doing it. And you almost kind of had to, because if you don't sign him now and he has the same type of year he does, he could ask for a lot more. But, keep in mind, I mean, he's not really a one-year wonder, but if you look at his stats, his play increased quite a bit.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
He wasn't that great of a quarterback before this year.
Oh, no. One of my favorite stats about Josh Allen is his 60. He went from, I believe, 52% completion to 68, yes, almost 70% this season. That is very impressive. And that's coming from a Patriots fan.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what he did was amazing. But keep in mind, remember, they gave up, what was it, a first-round pick, a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick?
Oh, yeah. They gave up a lot.
Yeah. And so they got Stephon Diggs. And I remember blasting the Bills saying, hey, this is a stupid move. But they did get to an AFC championship game.
They definitely
finally beat your Patriots. It was the first time.
Yeah.
1841, I think it was.
Yeah, trust me, Corey let me hear it after that. And oh man, it was bad.
I don't mean to rub salt in the wound, but I actually thought, I remember the first time they won, they beat I actually thought the Patriots were going to win the game. Then Newton fumbles, started rubbing salt in that wound. But
no, it's absolutely okay. And I'm like, it was just a bad decision by Cam. He should have slid, because we were losing by a field goal. Could have easily just sent the game into overtime. Boom.
You know what? If I remember right, and I'd have to go back and watch, but if I remember right, if he slides, there was I think 50 seconds left in the game.
Exactly.
You're inside the 25.
Exactly.
I actually thought that if he doesn't fumble, they would have scored a touchdown, because they were moving up and down on the Bills defense. That's one thing that I think a lot of Bills fans, I had to unfollow a lot of Bills Mafia after the AFC Championship game. A lot of guys were saying that Allen was better than Mahomes, and I'm like, wait a minute, now slow your roll here. You got a good quarterback, but I mean, come on now. But anyway, my little rant's over with. But I really did think that if Newton doesn't fumble, they were going to win because I don't think it would have gone into overtime. I think they would have scored. I think it would have gotten the end zone.
It was there, but just wasn't in the cards because Newton had to fumble. But
no,
you win some, you lose some at that point.
Well, you know what? I do want to break down all four of the AFC East teams. I don't want to get an insider opinion on all four of the AFC East teams, but I got to start off with the $1 million question, the number one question I want to ask you, and that is, who is going to be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots to start the 2021 season?
It's really interesting. It's a very, very interesting battle here because we currently, technically speaking, have 5 quarterbacks on the roster. Right.
Oh, wow.
But we obviously know, because we have Cam Newton, Mac Jones, Brian Hoyer the Destroyer, as we like to call him, Jake DeLega, who we brought off of waivers, and Jarrett Stidham, who is injured. He's going to have surgery that'll have him out for, I think, 12 weeks or something like that. So at this point, he's probably gone.
You know what? I actually did not know that about Stidham, but I remember not his last year at Auburn, but the year before he was hyped as a possible second-round pick. And in his final season, he looked like he didn't even belong in the NFL. I thought Patriots kind of reached for him, but
definitely.
I also thought that he had enough athletic ability. He may be kind of an interesting type player. With that injury, it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's his last time putting on the Patriots uniform. And we got some really great questions in the chat, and we are going to go over to AFC East, but since we got some great questions in the chat, we always got some great stuff from Lions fans here. One of the questions that that I actually was going to ask, and I wanted to address, because I actually think this is a great idea, and I'd love to get your opinion of it. Now, for those of you that don't know James Washington, he was the Blitnikoff Award winner at Oklahoma State. He dropped, if I remember right, he dropped all the way to the 3rd round. I love this kid coming out of Oklahoma State. Not used hardly at all in Pittsburgh. I don't know what the situation is in Pittsburgh. He's asked for a trade, which is not uncommon, but I will admit it doesn't happen too often in Pittsburgh. Of course, Le'Veon Bell did, but it's kind of a aberration. Aberration. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Let me ask here on One Pride 40's question here. Should the Lions take a look at James Washington?
That's interesting. Honestly, I think they should. I think you picked up, as far as I can tell, I didn't really look much into the Lions. I know they picked up Tyrell Williams from, I believe, the Raiders.
Yeah, he was with the Raiders last year.
Yeah,
and
but I don't think they have. I don't think they have like any other really like good receivers that are on their roster right now. You know, considering you lost Marvin Jones, he's in Jacksonville now. You lost Kenny Golladay, who's in New York, and those were your best receivers. You don't really have anybody.
Pay attention, Lions fans who think that you have a good receiving core. Pay attention here.
That's interesting. Like I said, I don't really know much around Detroit as far as I can tell. I paid attention to what was, posted on social media about that. I really don't really know, but I think it'd be a good signing, honestly.
I got a lot of love from Lions fans, but unfortunately, a lot of Lions fans are. I think they need to temper expectations. I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. One of the guys who is always welcome on the show, Luke G, had a guest on today saying the Lions are going to go 10-7, and I'm like, wow. I mean, you guys might want to slow up. But I think to answer your question, One Pride 40, James Washington would be an excellent fit in Detroit, and I do think that the Lions are going to make some moves, especially at the wide receiver position. So I definitely think that's going to happen in the upcoming future here. For the Detroit Lions. I got Slashers in the house, man. What's up, brother? Red Sea, you are here, man. Let me know, because I am breaking down the Cardinals on Wednesday. I got Alex here. Lots of Texans news, specifically about Watson in the camp. And you know what? I know that he was in camp and then he wasn't. I haven't heard if he returned. Alex, let me know what's going on there. Oh, this was a good question. Or actually, the Homeland, this was one of your comments. I'd love to get everybody else's opinion on this. Denver and Washington are a QB away from playoffs and potential Super Bowl. I actually agree with you. The only thing I will say is that me and Drew Lock went to the same high school, slightly different years. So I think that he has all the tools and the potential to be a good quarterback for Denver. But if they added somebody like, let's just say Aaron Rodgers, for example, then yes, I think I 100% believe you're right here.
Yeah. It's just like when you're thinking about it, you're comparing Drew Lock to, arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers. It's just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure 99.9% of the people in the NFL are going to pick Aaron Rodgers over Drew Lock. Because let's be honest, as long as you play Drew Lock on week 14, you're set. There you go. Because otherwise, I don't really know what you're doing. So
I do agree with that because I actually I think Denver is actually really loading up. That as a Chiefs fan, I'm kind of worried about because the skill position talent's off the charts. You get Von Miller coming back. A lot of people here are commenting when I said at the beginning of the year that the Diggs trade was crazy. I blasted the Bills for doing this. I actually made a prediction. Justin Jefferson would have a better statistical season than Stephon Diggs. And as you can see here, I am not correct. So, hey, one thing, I have no problem saying I'm wrong here. Alex puts in, Allen is a really good QB. Is he a best in the league? Top 5 guy? No. Top 10, most definitely.
I agree with that. Josh Allen is definitely a top 10 quarterback in the league. Someone I will take out of the top 5, because I know people put him in the top 5, is running back. All right. He is a running back. He is not a quarterback, and you cannot change my mind about that.
No, I think he's a top 10 guy when people are trying to tell me, especially when Bills fans are trying to tell me after they lost the AFC Championship game that he was better than Mahomes. I'm thinking to myself, come on, get back down into reality here. But let me ask you this here. Who is going to get the nod week 1? Is it going to be Mac Jones or is it going to be Cam Newton?
I think realistically speaking, and I know Bill Belichick like the back of my hand, he's going to start Cam. He's going to start Cam. Mac Jones, I've been keeping up with training camp. Mac Jones has actually struggled quite a bit, except for these past 2 days, where he's been really balling out, and he's shown a lot of promise. But I think, realistically speaking, Cam Newton is going to be the week 1 starter. Bill's going to kind of experiment with him because, honestly, you got to cut Cam some slack, okay? Last year,
season.
Yeah, he came in like a couple weeks before the season, no OTAs, no preseason, no receiving core, a bad offensive line. He pretty much almost had to carry the entire offense by himself, which is not okay, in my opinion. He's not in his 2015 prime days. He's not. It's not going to happen. And, on top of the fact that he came off of an injury on his throwing arm, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it was his throwing arm. And he had COVID early into the season. It really just wasn't the season. So I think this is the season. It's his chance. Okay. If he hasn't shown that he's improved by, say, week 3, week 4, maybe even later on in the season, Mac Jones is going to get the start. It's as simple as that.
Well, the one thing I do want to point out, and maybe you can go into a little more detail, is I know in Kansas City, Andy Reid runs one of the most complex offenses in the NFL. Everybody knows about the complexity of the defense, but I don't think a lot of casual football fans understand how complex the Josh McDaniels offense and how varied it is. One thing the Patriots do, and please go into more detail and elaborate, but one thing the Patriots do that not every team does is that they custom tailor their offensive scheme per their opponent. They don't have a passing team. Like Kansas City's a passing team, all right? Not the Patriots. Some teams are going to run the ball. Some teams are going to pass the ball, but you can't come in and learn this offense in a few weeks.
No, it takes time. For teams coming in to go against us, I can speak from experience because before Just a little side story. Before I was a Patriots fan, I actually was a 49ers fan, but that's because it
Oh,
ran in
wow.
it ran in the family. It was the family team, so I was a 49ers
I did
quote
not
unquote
know that.
fan.
How long ago were you a 49ers fan?
I was like 5 or 6.
What,
I didn't know.
what year? What year? I mean, I know you're like a few years younger than me. Just like 2 or 3.
2000, 2000, I would say 2005 or 2006, roughly.
I'm trying to remember what was the year Alex Smith was it 2006? Was he the number 1 pick in 06 or was it 08? I want to say
I think it was 06.
Yeah, I think
it
was 06. And I'll never forget because I remember I was a huge fan of the draft and always have been. I was positive they were going to take Rodgers. I was positive they were going to take everybody thought that they were going to take Rodgers, and then it was just out of the blue. And I loved Alex Smith here in Kansas City, but Mahomes is a slight upgrade.
Yeah, definitely. But going back to the offensive scheme, it's so complex, especially when you add Cam Newton to the mix. Because when you're thinking about Tom Brady's not a scrambling quarterback. He's not built. Literally runs the slowest 40 for a quarterback. Okay, we don't need to talk about that. But when you add Cam, it adds a whole new element that Josh McDaniels gets to experiment with because you can add the option. You can add the little trick play, which we saw against, I believe, New York, where you and Baltimore, actually, where you hand the ball off to Jacoby Myers, who played quarterback in high school.
I remember.
Throw the ball to Cam Newton. Fun fact, Cam Newton had more receiving touchdowns than Michael Thomas. Done. But you add a whole new element to that. You can add more trick plays, the QB options, and it's not something that you can just adjust to. Like teams who have played the Patriots aren't going to get the same Patriots team every single time that they play them. They're not. It's just not how that works. And that's why I think Josh McDaniels is unique. And I think it's going to be even more crazy with the defense. I know Matty P isn't our defensive coordinator anymore because he obviously went to Detroit, coached them for a few years, got fired, and came back. And he's just a member of staff right now. I know he's trying to get a bigger role in some way, but our defense, it's nuts. You have an underrated corner, in my opinion. You can disagree with me if you want. Underrated corner in J.C. Jackson.
No,
almost led the league in interceptions as an undrafted free agent. Are you kidding me?
Good corner.
Come on.
And then you got Gilmore. No, I mean your corners are solid. And those of you who do not know, this front seven, I'm not a Patriots fan, but I'm telling you right now, this front seven that they're building is got all sorts of positionless players. And then you get Barmore in the second round. I gave the Patriots an 8+ as far as the
that
draft.
is a steal. I thought he was going to go early first round.
I actually thought he was going to go to Oakland at 17.
That's nuts.
I thought he was going to, and you know what? It would have been a good pick at 17 for them to trade up with Cincinnati and get him, if I remember right, 38. I thought that was maybe the steal of the draft. And then everybody else also thought Mac Jones was going number 3 to San Francisco. I was convinced I should have listened to somebody smarter is that I was convinced that they were going to trade up in the top 10 to get Mac Jones. Somehow they wait and get him at 15.
I was so surprised. Like I was one of those guys. I was like, look, as long as we get we get Justin Fields or Mac Jones, I'll be happy. We need a quarterback. Invent that Cam is not the option. That is something that is priority.
Well, I don't know if Cam would be willing to do this, but let's say he loses his starting job later in the season and you get Mac Jones, you could still use Cam Newton inside of 5. And I think Cam would be willing, to score some rushing touchdowns.
Of course.
Yeah. And
he may have had a terrible passing season last year, but boy, that dude could still run 11 rushing touchdowns on the season. Are you kidding me? He's insane.
Yeah, I think that if you are not a Patriots fan or you're not aware of how difficult the Patriots offense is to learn, I think you'll see a completely different type of offense. And I urge people who think that the Patriots are a bad team, I would say beware. Not a Patriots fan, but I would say people beware because there's a lot of good things about the Patriots.
I agree. I will say this about even as our entire division as a whole, we've been what I like to call the AFC least, because we have one of the easiest divisions in the league, which in recent history you can tell because the Patriots have won the division almost every single year except for the last year. But that's definitely got a lot more interesting now. It's not going to be some easy division that's just like, oh, okay, well, they're all trash teams. Like the Dolphins, they have a lot of potential.
They
The
do.
Bills just won the division last year. The Patriots did a mini rebuild, spent all the money to get some of the best free agents available. And then the Jets added a lot of talent, especially at wide receiver. Got Zach Wilson, built up the defense. That they got a lot of talent and a lot of talent in the division as a whole. And I think it's going to get really competitive. Really competitive. It's not going to be an easy dub. Like, okay, well, we know the Jets are going to be the worst team in the division, which is what it usually is. In recent history, the Jets have always been the bottom of the division, but it's not going to be the same. It's going to be really interesting to see how it goes.
No, that was actually a perfect segue. Before I dive into it, because I want to get your opinion of the AFC East rankings. I'm using a combination of William Hill Sportsbook, and then I'm also using Westgate in Las Vegas. But I'm going to call it the Vegas over under, even though I'm using some of these numbers from the William Hill Sportsbook in Iowa. Before I dive in, I'm going to answer some of the questions. Mike is saying take the Lions under 2.5 wins. Mike's awesome. Mike, by the way, Mike, if you're not aware, Homeland, Mike is in Florida, big Dolphins fan. Yes, so we have some AFC East talking here. Alex, QB is an issue. I have many reservations on that defense. O-line has pieces, but not much. And this is referring to the Lions. Slasher has top 5 quarterbacks in the league: Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Jackson. Wow. I'll be honest, Slasher. Jackson is kind of a surprise. Number 5, Russell Wilson. I gotta ask Homeland, man, what do you think?
For the most part, I agree with that list, except for one player, and you probably already know what player.
I already know.
I do not think Lamar Jackson is a top 5 quarterback. I don't. No, because I think his arm technique and his throwing is his one downside, and that's why I would not put him in the top 5. I can't put him up there. I just can't.
No, I actually agree with you. And Slasher, I mean, here's the deal. As far as a runner and as a threat, I understand. But Around the Sticks podcast, one of the sources I strongly recommend everybody listen to. Great stuff. They brought up how one of the things Lamar Jackson struggles with is throwing outside the numbers, throwing to those out routes. And when this is public knowledge announced on the NFL Network, defensive coordinators are already aware of this. I think this is going to be a year that Jackson needs to prove and grow as a quarterback. He has to win games by throwing the ball and not just running the ball. But I mean, he's fun to watch. He's very exciting.
Absolutely.
But I would also have him out of my personal top 5. That's actually good. I would probably I have a different order. I would take Jackson out. I would actually put Deshaun Watson in.
Oh yeah, I would definitely put Deshaun Watson in at 5.
And then I would play around with the order just a little bit. Mike doesn't like Mahomes as much. I'm willing to bet because Mike likes the Florida teams. He's got Brady and hey, Brady beat my Chiefs. So Watson is there. He's at the facility, though he's not being played. A small foot. Okay, he's got a small foot injury, and the Texans are interested in the trade. If I'm Deshaun Watson, and I'm going to keep saying this until he is gone, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I stay in Houston because I think that the NFC East was usually the worst division in football, is not the worst division in football 2 years in a row. I think the AFC South is going to be a terrible division, and Houston with Watson has a chance to win that division. I know I sound like I'm crazy, but Deshaun Watson would be the best player in the AFC South. And he could potentially lead that team to the playoffs, and then you could ask for anything you want.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's a lot to look at with Watson. If he gets traded, there's been rumors that he's going to Philly. There's been rumors that he's going to Carolina, which I don't know why he'd go to Carolina. You just picked up Sam Darnold and wasted whatever.
Well, there's a lot of rumors about him going to Miami, which I really don't see, because just 2 years ago, all we heard was tank for Tua, and now you just want to get rid of the guy after
exactly
1 year. And just like Cam Newton, he wasn't 100%. I thought
exactly.
I thought Miami made a big mistake by playing him, especially early in the season. But that's another story for another day. One Pride 40 puts in, you hear Justin Jefferson got hurt. I heard he got hurt, but I don't know the seriousness. From what I heard was that it's minor. If this is a major issue, by the way, for my Vikings video, the Vikings are a team a lot of people are betting on. I'm staying away from the Vikings, and I strongly urge everybody who's watching the show, does any sports betting, stay away from the Vikings. There are some question marks about this team that people are not paying attention to, and this is big. I don't know the seriousness of the injury. One Pride 40. So if you have more information on it, please share. Alex puts in right now I have no idea. For Watson, our meeting, the Texans are asking. The Eagles and Miami are part of those teams. Many of those rumored are thought to be leaked by Watson's camp. And I think that's what it is. And by the way, Watson's agent, if he's smart, wants to get this information out as much as possible. But again, I'm going to pound the table. If I'm Watson, stay in Houston, do everything right, keep your nose clean, just, do everything right. 2022, you could get a new contract. You can get the team of your choice. If you leave this year, there's no way you're going to go to a team and have the playbook down. I mean, you really should have a whole offseason. Stay in Houston. Actually, Homeland, what do you think?
I honestly semi-agree with you from a statistical standpoint. Like, when you're talking about how to plan your career, I think in his situation, it technically is probably best for him, especially this late in the offseason. Like, you're probably better off staying in a playbook you already know, but kind of like Aaron Rodgers compared to the Aaron Rodgers situation. Granted, Aaron Rodgers is, in my opinion, a lot better quarterback. He's a much better quarterback.
I agree.
He could probably learn the playbook a lot quicker. But him staying another season, just get it out of the way. Cool. Do your best. You can go wherever you want, because pretty much your team has pretty much agreed to that. Aaron Rodgers set to either get traded or be a free agent next season. Deshaun Watson, if he goes back to Houston, plays the season through. If he does bad, he does bad. If he takes the team to the playoffs, he takes the team to the playoffs. You either get a new contract or you go sign with another team, because that's what you and the team agreed on.
I agree. I agree with you. I just, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I think leaving for another team this year would be a massive mistake. There's not a team that you're going to go to that, you're going to be in a better situation than you are with the players that you're already familiar with. And not only that, the expectations are so low in Houston. I mean, he leads them to 6 wins. He exceeded expectations. And I also, is an underrated moves that didn't get a lot of attention, but he was a player I was very high on coming out of college. But they did trade a late round pick, and I don't know the specifics. They got Anthony Miller. Now they gave up Reggie Cobb, but I'm going to tell you something. If you're not, Reggie Cobb's probably I'm sorry, it's not Reggie Cobb.
Randall
Cobb. I apologize. My first name mistake, so that's not bad. We've been on the air for 28 minutes, and I've only made one name mistake. That's not bad for me. So Randall Cobb for Anthony Miller. Believe me, you get a younger, cheaper, I think better player. So there's definitely some good things going on with Houston. At least that's my opinion. Slasher asked Alex if the Eagles offered Hurts, Derek Barnett in the first. And what do you think, Homeland?
Would you really give would you really give your technically starting quarterback just to get another quarterback though? I like Jalen Hurts. That's my opinion. I like Jalen Hurts. I think he has a lot of potential. And we saw glimpses of that potential last season. So it's like that's basically doing the same thing that the Dolphins are trying to do.
If
give them a full season.
If I'm Philly, I would decline this. If I'm Philly, I'd roll with Hurts this year.
I don't think that's a smart thing. I think now if this was next season and Hurts has started a full season and shown, okay, he's not the guy. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I would accept 100%. That. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Slasher, if you're not aware, Slasher's an Eagles fan.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So, respectfully, Slasher, I'm going to have to say no for the 2021 season. If this were the 2022 season and Hurts has legitimately proven that he is not ready to be a starter, nor is he good for your team, then I would trade him. But right now, I don't think that's a smart move because for all you know, the Texans could instantly accept that trade, but then Deshaun Watson could go there and play like absolute dog water. It'll be terrible, So I don't think that, that's a good move.
No, and I think Alex says, now keep in mind, I'm outside the situation, but I think Alex is right. I think Watson is worth a little more. And I think they're asking for another first or second round pick. And then One Pride 40 is asking, you already touched base on this a little bit.
Yeah.
How's Mac Jones doing in camp? And also, I by the way, One Pride 40, I agree with you here. It wouldn't surprise me if Washington is a Lion because I could see the Steelers just saying, hey, we'll give us a 6th or 7th. Let's just get this guy out of here. And then Slasher puts in, I think, another first or second added is in a really good deal. I really think the Eagles will end up trading for him sooner or later. Too many rumors around him for it not to be true, but who knows? Slasher, one I want to ask, you have him going to the Eagles. You think Deshaun Watson's going to be a future Eagle? And I know I'm a little behind on comments, but I'll be honest, I really don't see that. But Homeland, what do you think? Deshaun Watson in Philly?
And no, I don't. I can't imagine Deshaun being in Philly. I just can't.
I don't see it either. I really don't. And even though I'm behind on comments, I do want to talk a little bit about the AFC East. It was the reason why I brought the Homeland on. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we're going to do our best to go ahead and get all the comments and all the questions answered. So it looks like I'm about 10 minutes behind. So I apologize for everybody who has questions I haven't got to yet, but I wanted to touch base on this. And Homeland, the numbers I have in the left column were the numbers when I did my AFC East breakdown. I want to say about 6 weeks ago. The only number that's changed between now and then is that the Jets are now they were a 2,000 plus 2,000, which means they're 20-1 favorite. Now they're a 22-1 favorite to win the AFC East, meaning that everybody basically thinks the same thing about Buffalo, Miami, and New England. But now even Jets fans are not believing in their own team, 22-1. I think this might have to be the fact that they're I can't believe I already forgot the guy's name. The quarterback they just drafted. He was the last first pick to sign. I can't believe I forgot his name.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson had
to BYU.
Yes, and I think that has to be for part of this. But let me ask a Patriots fan. I think we let's just throw the Jets out. All right, let's just throw the Jets out. I might sitting here saying Jets are still trash, 3-14. I would love to know your opinion about that as well. But let me ask you this here. Buffalo, a heavy favorite to win the division.
Yeah.
Miami and New England, about the same. Miami slightly favored above New England. Is this right?
I believe now the inner bias, oh my goodness, the inner bias wants me to say that New England is going to do better than Miami. However, in terms of realism and the way that our team is set up compared to theirs, this is an accurate representation of how I believe that the AFC East is going to end up this year. You know, Buffalo's going to win their division, and I can just say that right now. That they have the team. They drafted the team as well. You know, they picked up edge rushers, Gregory Rousseau, Carlos Basham Jr., picked up a speedster and Marquez Stevenson. Really good pickups in the draft, and I'm like, wow, this team is just really, they're built.
Let me just make sure I got this right from a Patriots fan. Buffalo should be favored to win this division by a very large margin.
Oh yeah, that's coming from a Patriots fan.
Right.
I'm not gonna pop on to this stream and be like, you know, some Cowboys fan, like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. You know, I'm gonna be real, and I do think that although our team has a lot of potential, I don't think it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna get second or third, pretty much. Okay. I don't see the Jets doing better than us. The Jets are pretty much mid. I will say I do see the Jets winning more than 3 games though. Okay. I think 3 is a little bit harsh. I give them 5. Okay,
the Jets get 5 wins. All right. And Alex puts in a great point here. The division is going to be much more competitive. Bills still look good. Miami has stuff and is a dangerous Tua develops. And the Jets, though, in the middle of a rebuild can be a thorn. I actually agree with everything.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Absolutely. Like the Bills look nasty. The Dolphins are getting kind of semi-scary. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You know, if Tua can really ball out, you know, that's a team to reckon with. New England, my own team, you know, quarterback's a little bit of an iffy situation. I will say this, if Cam can go back to 2015 Cam, add a little bit more throwing into it, we're a scary team to mess with. Defense is something
you got some weapons. You got some weapons. And
yeah, definitely.
I kind of don't want to touch base too much on this, but you also got a player. Now, keep in mind, I live in Kansas City, so we're right in the middle of Big 12 country while it's still
absolutely.
As soon as Texas and Oklahoma are officially in the SEC, I fully expect the Big 12 to disband. But if you watched Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl, the MVP was their running back, and his name escapes me, but he went to New England in the 4th round, and I think he is going to be an integral part of your offense. Not a guy who's going to win a lot of fantasy football championships.
Oh, no.
What do you know about this guy?
You're talking about Ramondre Stevenson.
Yes.
That's the guy. This is what I think on him. LeGarrette Blount Jr., okay?
Yeah.
He's not going to be, considering we have Damian Harris. Damian Harris balled out last year, and you cannot change my mind about that.
No.
He balled out.
Pickup.
I think he'll be the number 1 back. I think Ramondre's probably, I would feel he would come in on the big goal line formations where we need this big power back kind of guy to just plow his way into the end zone. I don't really think he's going to get the start. I don't. But he will definitely be a very interesting piece of our offense, and I'm interested to see how we implement him into the scheme.
No, I actually think that he could be a guy who gets like 50 carries and then ends up with like 9 touchdowns. He may even have double digits.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm going to tease you about it a little bit because I do think it's a little funny is that when the Patriots drafted Sony Michel, they passed up Nick Chubb, and I remember thinking to myself, what was so special about Sony Michel? But kind of making fun, kind of taking a shot at you, kind of mean of me. But
and I understand that. I feel because Bill Belichick, I will say this, and as much as I hate to say it, because I'm kind of dissing my own coach, he's a terrible GM. Like this guy can't
with receivers and running backs, defensive players.
Bill Belichick's the kind of guy, he will find the most random guy in like the 7th round, and that 7th round is going to become a starter and win the Super Bowl. Take a look, for example, Tom Brady, 199. Look at Julian Edelman, was not picked in the first 3 rounds. Super Bowl MVP.
I remember right. He was a 7th round pick. And the thing about Edelman is that he played quarterback at Kent State.
Exactly. This guy, nobody had expectations for Edelman. Nobody. This man is now, in my opinion, below Jerry Rice, the GOAT of the playoffs. That man is a playoff machine.
You can't really argue that. You really can't dispute that. I don't want to go off the. You could debate if he's worthy of being in the Hall of Fame, but you cannot debate that he was productive in the playoffs where it matters.
Oh, absolutely not. And anybody who thinks that they can debate that, you can follow my Instagram and we can talk on there.
By the way, when we finish up with the show, I'm going to go ahead and put your Instagram down there because I want to build a community where we all communicate with each other.
Yeah, of course.
And then, so I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised that you're kind of agreeing with the Vegas odds here. I was really kind of expecting for you to put the Patriots above Miami. And before I move on to the over/under, I want to get some of these comments. I wonder what happened to Prochet.
I remember him.
I love this guy. I'll never forget. It was the day. I remember it was the day before my birthday. I watched SMU play Tulsa. Tulsa was up 31-9 in the fourth quarter, and Prochet single-handedly ended up taking that game into double overtime. Had like some circus catch touchdown that ended up winning the game like in triple overtime. And he went to Baltimore as a 6th-round pick. I know he was the kick and punt returner, but I don't think he's developed enough to he's basically a guy who's fighting on the bubble. They drafted a Rashad Bateman in the first round. They also picked up Sammy Watkins, a guy that will always get injured, but when he's healthy, does play like a legitimate number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, until he gets tackled by a receiver who can also play DB. I know you probably remember that play. It was his last name was Akeem or something like that. He wore number 15. And I remember because it's for those who are out in the chat, they've probably watched compilations of people getting reverse karma, right? Sammy Watkins, I think quarterback was Horton or something like that. Threw a deep pass. Sammy Watkins catches, starts to taunt. Runs up and tackles him right before he gets there. Yeah,
Buffalo.
Yep.
Yeah. I will. The one that's actually, and I'm not going to do the because I'm going in draft order, so I'm going to do the Chiefs. Because I'm going to do them 31st. But that's one thing that when Sammy Watkins was healthy, the Chiefs' offense looked better, and it's something that I kind of worry about because we have some guys that got an opportunity when Watkins was hurt to take over as a number 2 wide receiver, and they didn't take advantage of the opportunity, but we're giving them another chance again, which is it's a question mark on my Chiefs. And I want to discourage talking about the Chiefs, but because I got an AFC East expert here, so I want to talk about the AFC East.
You're flattering me. I'm not really an expert. I just watch a lot of the AFC East.
Yeah, well, that will work for us, though. Red Sea asked, anybody know how bad the Claypool injury was? Red Sea, I'll be honest, I didn't watch the game. I have to use streaming services. I have Google Fiber, and they no longer install cable. So I've been without cable for the last several months. When football season starts, I go ahead. I used Fubo last year. They were terrible. I'm not going to just – whatever you do not use Fubo. They are terrible. I can go into more detail, but anyway, I'm signing up for YouTube TV this weekend. So I didn't get a chance to watch the game. So forgive me. I don't know how bad the injury was, but if it is a bad injury, then that will affect if James Washington is on the chop block or not.
I think because I just looked this up. Apparently he's fine. It's Kalen Ballage that's more concerning because he has a lower body injury, which that man, in my opinion, I think he needs to retire. He's been injured way too much. Hasn't really shown that he belongs in the NFL. So it's like, yeah, you've been in the league how long? And you still haven't done it. So it might be time to put up the cleats, my guy. But Claypool is fine, according to this.
Okay.
He was fine after the game.
And like I said, I didn't watch the game myself, but I'm getting TV this weekend, and I plan on watching a lot of preseason football.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Slasher said Texans, but we all know he meant Jacksonville, and you're 100% correct. Jacksonville did have – not only did they have a dynasty defense, they had everything working on the offensive side of the ball, What they did is they messed up because they gave a ton of money after the AFC Championship game to Blake Bortles, and they should have changed. If they went ahead and didn't pay Bortles, they went ahead and either drafted another rookie, gone after somebody in free agency. I think Jacksonville would have been able to do something. I think the whole thing about signing Bortles just destroyed the whole team. That's my opinion.
Yep, and in my opinion, and I haven't told Corey this. I don't know if he's in the chat right now, but I'm like, at this point, you got to start worrying about, oh, well, they're probably going to trade Myles Jack at this point because they like trading away all their best players.
No, what they're known for. Seriously, he's a guy they signed to a big time deal, and they moved him around to different positions. I actually think that in this new defense, and I'm drawing a blank on who the new defensive coordinator is. He's coming from Baltimore. And I thought last year there as a 4-3 defense didn't make a damn bit of sense. You have smaller defensive ends that really should be outside linebackers in the AFC South. Didn't make any sense because you got Tennessee that's got 250-pound Derrick Henry as running back. So why are you having a small defensive line? That didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor's a 230-pound dude. Now, keep in mind, Marlon Mack was the number one running back, but you don't draft a guy like Jonathan Taylor and say, well, he's only going to get 5 touches a game. And then even though Houston's more of a passing team, they did have Duke, was it Duke Johnson or anyway, the Johnson that they got from Arizona.
David Johnson,
I'm sorry. And he's a 230. He's a bigger guy. He doesn't run like he's a power back, but he's still a bigger guy. So I remember Jacksonville going into last season. I was like, why the hell are they running a 4-3 when they have all the pieces of a 4-3 team or a 3-4 team? And that's what they're running this year. And I think Myles Jack could really flourish. If he doesn't, it wouldn't surprise me if Jacksonville says, hey, let's get rid of this guy. Let's get some more draft picks because I think Urban Meyer likes the idea of bringing in more college guys. That's just my opinion. And then Mike puts in Watson would love South Beach. I really don't think it's going to happen. I think Miami really likes Tua, but we'll see what happens. Funk says, hot take, the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers mid-season.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Where does he go?
I mean, that's the big question here. A lot of rumors are around Denver. I can say that. There's a lot of rumors around Denver.
I've been hearing that quite a bit myself, and as a East fan, I would really hate that. But one thing I will say is I thought Denver did something smart by giving Locke some competition in Bridgewater, but giving Locke the opportunity to be the starter. And for those of you who don't know, the Denver Broncos, a new GM, came from Minnesota, and he was part of the group that traded up into the first round to draft Bridgewater. So they think very highly of him. I don't think that you have a training camp quarterback battle just to trade a bunch of draft picks for a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Funk puts in lights of Instagram. Oh, Jesus. Okay, question for Homeland. Can the Jets win any game in the division? I have them going 0-6.
I agree with that.
Question.
I agree with that.
I agree too.
The Jets may win 5 games, but none of those 5 games will be divisional games. They do not have the team to do that. They have a lot of potential and a lot of talent on that team, but not enough to win any divisional games. Not at all.
And Red Sea Corey puts in, they're likely to pull one on Miami or New England. I definitely don't see them beating Buffalo. I'll be honest with you, that's a possibility.
Definitely a possibility. Not likely, but a possibility.
I think it's very unlikely. I'll tell you one. If you're not aware of this, let me tell you guys something right now. Bill Belichick against rookie quarterbacks.
Oh yeah,
he has this crazy record. You could bet the house on it. Remember last year, Justin Herbert got shut out.
45-0. Yeah. 45-0.
Yeah, Justin Herbert. So take it. If you don't believe me, believe the Homeland. Bill Belichick, you want Bill Belichick against a rookie quarterback. By the way, when New England does play the Jets that first time, you know where I'm going to be at. I'm going to be at the bet window. I'm going to put some action down. So,
I can actually just pull the rec up now if I can remember off the top of my head. Bill Belichick is, I believe, 13-0. against
my
rookie
God.
quarterbacks. Actually,
Oh,
technically
yeah.
14-0, because the last I remembered looking at that was from December of 2020. So he's 14-0 against rookies. He just doesn't lose.
And by the way, take this to the bank here, because I want everybody who watches this show to be able to take some money from the evil casinos. You want to bet on Bill Belichick against a rookie quarterback.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
I don't have the Patriots schedule, but twice he's going to play rookie quarterback twice. Take advantage of that and make some money.
I actually have the schedule pulled up right
Is he going
now.
against any other rookie quarterbacks?
As far as I can tell, no, I do not think so.
Okay. But hey, I will remind. Hopefully, the Homeland will also put a reminder in there. I will remind everybody, because I definitely want to take advantage of it. I know I'm going to put some money down. Slashers puts in. I love.
That's what it is.
Need to work on mechanics.
He plays.
I'll be honest. I don't know if it's just mechanics. But I will say this: when he was at Alabama, I thought he was a running back.
Oh yeah.
He went to Oklahoma, and I was like, a little better. But when he ended the season at Oklahoma till the draft, those 2 months, it looked like a completely different quarterback.
Exactly.
Everything changed, and everything off what do you call it? Off the field is A+ about Hurts. I mean, attitude, work ethic.
I love Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was one of my favorite quarterbacks coming out of that draft.
I am so pulling for him to succeed. I really am. It really is.
Absolutely. And I actually just remembered we play one more rookie quarterback this year.
Oh, really?
Yes, the first overall pick in the draft. Against the Jacksonville Jaguars at, I believe, week 16.
Okay, it's late in the season. For those of you that don't know, Urban Meyer and Bill Belichick go way back. They're very long. Matter of fact, Urban Meyer, and you can confirm this, Urban Meyer has been to several Patriots training camps.
Oh yeah, several, absolutely. Actually, it's funny because I'm pretty sure this is what his second stint as a head coach, because he used to coach Miami. I'm pretty sure.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, I think so. Was it Urban Meyer or was it Nick Saban?
Urban Meyer, as if I remember correctly, Kent State, Utah, then Florida, then Ohio State, then ESPN, but he's never coached in the NFL. And that's one thing that a lot of people are really high on Urban Meyer. It's just like, this guy's never coached in the NFL before. You may want to hold off before you start putting them into the playoffs. But
it was Nick Saban. It was Nick Saban. Nick Saban was the person who coached.
Nick Saban.
I was trying to remember if it was Urban Meyer or Nick Saban who coached in the NFL.
No, Nick Saban. Yeah, Nick Saban was in Miami, and I guarantee you, Mike, as a Dolphins fan, absolutely loves that time. Denver Gator puts in, I guess my Broncos fan card will be revoked here soon. I'm in the chat with Chiefs and Pats lovers. Don't tell me.
Don't worry, we're not trashing the Broncos. We're not.
No. And Mike puts in, I have to agree with Mike here. Mike is one of the guys who I put a lot. The little side story here. I'll try to get back on topic, but at the very beginning of the season, Mike turned me on to Coastal Carolina. Mike put some action. I put some action on Coastal Carolina. The BYU game, I think that they were a 10-point dog, won that game at home. I ended up making some money off that, and I have to thank Mike for that. So I love having Mike in the chat here. Very entertaining, very knowledgeable guy. Mike, I know for a fact, is going to put some money down on the NFL this year, and we'll make some money. Alex puts in, I love Hurts. I see as a Houston guy, in and out, has a lot of potential, can be a great starter. I need to see more from him, though, before I can truly trust him fully, though I believe in Pat Hamilton to develop.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I couldn't say it any better myself. I do, but I don't like it. His cap hit is too heavy right now for a team. He needs a diva. He won't last there. And my apology, because in trying to get caught up in comments, I'm now way behind. So I'm going to go through some of the comments, and I kind of want to get back on track and talk about the AFC East. Buffalo is hands down the best team in the AFC East, though it's fight between Miami and New England for a wild card. I like Miami since I like their quarterback situation better. Homeland, what do you think about this?
And I could say this as much as I hate to say it. I think that's actually accurate. Yes, we have Cam and Mac Jones. Mac Jones has a very high ceiling and a lot of potential. However, you actually have a legitimate former Patriot on that team in Jacoby Brissett, who has shown that he has the potential to take a team to the playoffs. You saw with the Colts. It wasn't last season. It was like it was the season before last. He was having a great season with Indy. And then he got injured. And then you started Brian Hoyer. And then they started losing games. Brissett came back from his injury, wasn't 100%. Colts didn't go to the playoffs. He has the potential when he is healthy to be a starting quarterback. And I think that their quarterback situation is it's one of the most simple reasons, but it's the tiniest reason that, the Dolphins will outdo the Patriots.
No, I actually kind of agree with that. It also wouldn't surprise me if Buffalo, Miami, and New England all make the playoffs. I mean, Buffalo, I have to agree as of right now, they look at, if injuries happen and everything, which of course can happen, but if every team goes into the regular season healthy, I do have Buffalo winning the division. I do, however, I'm kind of in a minority. I think they're going to dip a little bit this year. But I do think they win the division. But I could definitely see Miami and New England fighting for a wild card.
And this is a hot take that I have. I think that the AFC East will be like I believe it's the AFC North, which I think is Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Yeah, I believe it'll be like that for the playoffs, where you have 3 teams from the same division, 2 of which make wild cards and one of them making a divisional. I believe Buffalo's gonna it's gonna be interesting with Buffalo. If they can beat out Kansas City, Buffalo gets the first round bye. Boom.
I was thinking the same thing. When the season ended, I actually had Buffalo as my favorite to win the AFC, but I think that they made a mistake and they added pass rushers when I felt they really needed to add defensive tackles.
Yeah.
Kansas City, I remember in the regular season, ran for over 250 yards. And if you're not aware, Andy Reid does not like running the ball, but Buffalo's interior defense was weak enough that if Kansas City runs the ball for 250 yards on you, you have problems. But they went ahead and got pass rushers. And I think that what they're going to do is try to employ, 3 and 4 pass rushers and try to win shootouts instead of stopping the run, which I think is a big mistake. So once they went that route and Kansas City upgraded the offensive line, then I was kind of like, I think I got Kansas City and is my number 1 AFC team. But I will say this right now, Tampa Bay is my favorite to win the Super Bowl again. And Mike puts in when Belichick takes a Saban player, it's usually solid. And I didn't send this to you, but I wanted to ask you because the last several years, Bill Belichick has done this. One of the things that Bill Belichick and Jim Harbaugh do is that Jim Harbaugh at Michigan has their front 7 players play in multiple positions. And if you've noticed, Bill Belichick for the last several years has always taken a Michigan player. Is this by design?
That's an interesting question. It's a really good question, actually.
Threw you off a little bit.
No,
I didn't put that in the questions I was going to ask you.
It's great. It's a great question for me to answer. I actually thank you for that. I don't think it's by design. I think, because for all we know, Bill Belichick could, he could be like, hey, he could go talk to Urban Meyer, for example, if he was still coaching college football. Go talk to Urban Meyer. Hey, Urban Meyer says, hey, I got a nice player. You should consider drafting him. He could fit your scheme. He could easily just say no. It's as simple as that. He's like, he might, but I don't want to take that risk. Simple as that. But you take a guy like Michael Onwenu. Oh, my God. I loved him coming out of college. I was happy when we drafted him, despite the fact that I was surprised that he fell all the way to, the 6th round. I was like, this guy he has so much talent. He's falling to the 6th round. And he balled out in his rookie year. And in my opinion, should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year solely because he was a 6th round pick and did really well. Not because, realistically speaking, okay, no, he allowed just a few more sacks, blah, 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 this and that. But if you included the fact with that draft stock, he he was amazing for a 6th-round offensive lineman who played guard and tackle all season on a battered offensive line and only managed to allow 3 sacks all season.
No, that's phenomenal number. Played really, really well. I actually was kind of curious if a Patriots fan felt it was by design, because one thing that John Harbaugh has done over the last several years is that if you play on the front 7 at Michigan, you play all over. You play linebacker, you play end, you play tackle. You don't play the same position, and you play a lot of different positions. And I actually think it's by design. Chase Winovich, he doesn't really have a position. Josh Uche, and I don't remember the player's name. He actually sat out this year, but he's a 5th, 6th round pick. I think he makes the team very athletic. I'm going to call him a linebacker, but and Bill Belichick's defense, he's going to move all over the field. Unless he doesn't make the team, which is, not a guarantee, especially with Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Alex brings up a great question. What Pat's Superfan's opinion of the Texans getting Cassero as GM? He signed the most free agents in the league. He's made this team, in my opinion, not terrible, a 6, maybe 7-win team. So let me ask you something, Homeland. What is your opinion? And also, do you agree that the Texans are a 6, 7-win team?
That's interesting. I think what it really comes down to is the quarterback. It really comes down to the quarterback. Because Brandon Cooks, although being one of the most injury-prone receivers besides Sammy Watkins in the league, holy crap, when he's healthy, is a very, very versatile threat. You added Tyrod Taylor as backup, which when he's healthy, he's got moves. I got to give it to him. Tyrod Taylor back in the Bills days, Tyrod had moves.
I remember Tyrod when he was with Virginia Tech. I absolutely love that guy.
And it's crazy because technically speaking, Tyrod Taylor has a ring. Technically, he has a ring because he was the backup to Joe Flacco in the Super Bowl. I don't know if you knew that.
Are you? I'll take your word for it, but I thought that he was at Virginia Tech still. Because for those of you who don't know, Tyrod Taylor had to fight from 3rd string to back up. Then he actually got a few starts at Baltimore before he ended up going to Buffalo, I believe. Was it Buffalo or? But I actually thought he was still at Virginia Tech. I'll take your word for it. But
Tyrod Taylor. So Tyrod was drafted in the 6th round of, I believe, the 2011 NFL draft, but he was drafted by the Ravens.
Yeah, he had to fight his way up. And that was one thing I loved about Tyrod Taylor is that he was a guy, normally when you're 3rd string, you don't get a chance to start. But it was 2011. The Ravens won the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's right. He does have a ring.
Yeah, he was the backup to Joe Flacco. I believe it was 2012 because I believe 2011 was the year that the Packers beat the Steelers. But 2012 was when the 49ers faced off against the Ravens. Jacoby Jones had his 105-yard kick return touchdown. Tyrod Taylor was the backup on that team, and he won a ring.
I'm not 100% sure. I actually think he was 3rd string, but he may have been backup. But he had to fight and claw and scratch in order to get an opportunity to start. Always liked Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I liked him coming out of college. He's definitely shown glimpses of him being a real threat in the NFL. And I like that. Texans winning 7 games, though, I'll give them 6. The over-under is 4, and that's kind of a perfect segue into what I wanted to go over. I wanted to go over the over-under for all 4 of the AFC East teams. The numbers on the left column are from when I did the video using the William Hill Sportsbook in Iowa about 6 weeks ago. The numbers on the right are the current numbers from Westgate Casino. So the numbers I'm looking at here are from Westgate, and I took these from yesterday. I'm not 100% sure if the numbers have changed between yesterday and today, but as you can see, Buffalo is going up, and this negative 140, for those of you who aren't into sports betting, this means that you have to wager $140 to win 100, and that's what the negative means. The plus 120 here is that you wager $100, you win 120. Buffalo heavy action is on over 11.
Miami and New England are at 9, and it's kind of funny because more action is being bet on New England over than Miami, and then the Jets. I'm kind of actually surprised that Westgate has over Jets over 6 wins at -105 when William Hill had several weeks ago -130. I'm a little surprised by this number. But as you can see here, more people are betting on the Jets. So let's just start off with Buffalo. Heavy action on the Bills winning over 11 games. What do you think?
I actually completely agree with that. The Bills definitely have the team to do that. As a matter of fact, if I can just look up their schedule, like who they play, I'm pretty sure their scale is pretty lightweight too. Like the first 6 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they play the Lions. They play Detroit week 1. They play Chicago week 2. They play Green Bay week 3, which I think they'll lose. They play Pittsburgh week 4.
This is Buffalo.
Yeah, this is Buffalo.
No. Are you sure you got it right? Because I know they played Pittsburgh week 1.
Oh, you know what? I'm looking at preseason.
Okay. I was gonna say. Okay.
So you have Pittsburgh week 1, Miami week 2, Washington week 3, and Houston week 4. If Deshaun's not playing in this week 4 game, that's an automatic win for the Bills. Okay, that's just a fact. If he does, I still think the Bills are going to pull it out. But you're looking at a potential 4-0 start to the season, and you haven't played the Chiefs yet. I think they're going to lose to the Chiefs. The Titans are going to be an interesting team to bet some money on, I would say. But overall, they got a really good season. There's a lot of easy teams that they can play. You're playing the Jets, the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Colts a lot. So I see 11 wins.
Okay. I don't like the -140, but I do like 11. If this number jumps up, and I think it will, it's going to jump up to 11.5, meaning that they have to hit 12. Would you recommend putting action on over 11.5 wins for the Buffalo Bills?
That's interesting. I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes.
All right. And I'll lump both of these together, even though I know you're more of a Patriots fan. I'm going to lump them together because they're at 9. Miami and New England at 9. The action, a lot of people like the over. A little surprised that more actions on the Patriots rather than Miami. What is your opinion, the over-under for 9 for Miami and 9 for New England?
I'm going to give you best case scenario and worst case scenario.
All right.
Best case scenario, we're talking Cam goes back to 2015, Cam, when he led the Panthers to a fantastic season. Best case scenario, 10 games, 11 games. Best case scenario, we have to have like a stellar comeback season, get to the wild card. Maybe if we lose out, we lose out. But I think best case scenario, we have a comeback season, get into the playoffs. Worst case scenario, 7 games.
Okay.
I think 7 games is honestly fair. And Miami, I mean, I could say roughly the same. I give them about 10 games on the season. Worst case scenario for them, 5 games and 5 wins.
All right.
I really see that. And that's not me being biased. That's me being honest.
All right. I'm kind of reading between the lines here. So just elaborate for those of us that do the sports betting. Would you recommend betting the over or the under on either one of these two teams?
Ooh, that's interesting. Me personally, I probably wouldn't bet solely because with those two teams being, Miami and New England, there's a lot of things that you got to consider. For all you know, you could bet money on New England because it's New England and they had a comeback season, and then Miami could just storm back and you could lose all that money. Same can be said for Miami, though. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's a safe thing to do. I mean, you can. I think when it comes down to it, it's really about personal preference. If you want to, you do it. But if you don't, me personally, I wouldn't. I think it's really risky to lose money on that.
I think that is very smart, and that's some excellent advice because some idiot took over 7.5 last year on the Patriots and lost. I'm not going to mention names, but Anyway, somebody bet on New England last year and lost because they were New England. So that was fantastic advice. I have to admit, I kind of like Miami a little more than I like New England. But what you just said, and spoiler alert, when I do the Dolphins, I'm actually going to steal this. There's a lot of question marks. And I think that when you're doing the over-unders, you really want to bet more on definites. It's the same thing, unrelated, but why I'm going against Minnesota, and it's why I'm going against both of these two teams. The final team, though, the Jets, the over/under at 6, and I am surprised that it's this way, which means that more people are betting on the under, but it's not a heavy bet. What is your opinion on the Jets over/under at 6?
I think, realistically speaking, the Jets have the potential to win 5-6 games on the season. Now, it's how do I put this into words? It's a lot of talk. There we go. I'm going to use some of your words. You got to talk the talk and walk the walk.
Oh,
you can talk all about winning 5-6 games, but can you actually win 5 or 6 games? That is the big question. And I think, me personally, the Jets have that potential. Just none of those games will be division wins. Not a single one of them.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I mean, I'm not going to put action on the Jets. I like what they did in free agency, and I like the fact that when you have a coach like Robert Saleh, who's going to run that wide 9 defense, adding those free agents on the defensive line, I think was brilliant. But I have a hard time seeing them because the only way you collect is if they get to 7, and I just don't see how they get to 7 wins because.
No.
I'm thinking maximum 2 wins in the division, maximum, and that's if you get some weird injury and a phantom call or something. So I have a hard time. I'm not going to put action on any of these teams. The one team I would probably say, and the reason why I would have, Miami at one point was 8.5, and I would have liked Miami to hit 9. I'm not as confident as about 10.
Yeah, I agree with that. Miami is not a 5-win team. They're not. They are not that bad. They're not Detroit. Okay, Detroit. Miami is not Detroit, and that's not a diss. Okay, but when you compare the two teams, Detroit and Miami, it's very blatantly obvious. Miami statistically and roster wise has the better team than Detroit.
Well, Miami's a young team. Too.
Exactly. That's the big thing.
And the one thing, and this scares me about Miami, but if you look at their 2 draft picks, Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips, there's some massive red flags on both of those guys. Massive red flags. If both of them play up to their potential, they're as dangerous as anybody in the National Football League.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But when you get a guy who can't stay healthy in college, I always worry about what's he going to do in the pros.
Yeah, is he going to be, as Corey would like to call it, is he going to be an injury bill or a medical check? I don't know what he calls it exactly.
Well, he did confirm he was definitely Joe's backup. I didn't know he was the backup. I mean, he could have been in uniform and been the 3rd quarterback.
He wore number 2, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right. I do know that he had to work his way up as a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, definitely.
And also thought it was brilliant of Baltimore taking him in the 6th round. Kind of going on a rant about how much I love Tyrod Taylor, but
it's okay.
I mean, yeah, absolutely love the guy. He shouldn't have lasted till the 6th round. Baltimore's done a really good job drafting players the last several years. Denver Gator says Pats and Broncos is not anywhere as special as it used to be, but always a great game to watch. No Pats and Broncos this year. Cam Newton is happy, doesn't have to see 58, still haven't.
Oh man, I'm a little bit hurt, Gator. I'm not gonna lie. That kind of hit home. You're throwing some shots at my quarterback. Okay.
You know what? It was funny because I knew Denver was going to win that Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, I knew Denver was going to win.
I knew they were going to win. It was funny. I had Broncos fans that told me I was crazy, and I said, "I'm telling you right now, that defense Denver has is going to control Cam Newton." And the reason why is that the NFC South that year did not see a defense even as close to Denver's. Denver had a fantastic defense that year. really loaded up
Oh yeah.
on defense. And what happened was several years before they had, statistically speaking, the greatest offense of all time. Then they
Oh
go
yeah.
face the Legion of Boom, and I knew as soon as he snapped the ball over Peyton Manning's head, the game was over. So anyway, sorry, Denver Gator, to bring that up. That's
Yeah, that was a terrible Super Bowl to watch. Also,
I know.
shout out to Corey. Shout out to my boy Red Sea, aka Corey. Robert Hospital Bill Alford. That's exactly who he was talking about.
Okay. And by the way, Corey, I'm going to hit you up on Instagram
He
after the show. I'm going to see if I can get you on next week to talk about.
He texted me. He texted me. He will be there on Wednesday. He will be there.
Okay, because I'm going to break down like I said, I should have done the Patriots today instead of Monday, and then I'm going to do the Cardinals on Wednesday. So I'm kind of hoping. By the way, you got an invite too if you want to come back next week, and you can criticize my opinion of both the Patriots and the Cardinals. But
Dude, I'd be happy.
All right,
I'd be happy to pop in. I'd be happy to pop in with Corey. Yeah,
pop in with Corey, and we'll see. Corey, just open invite right now if you're still there. How about we have a threesome here, and we'll talk. You guys can analyze my breakdown of both the Patriots, which I'm going to do Monday, the Cardinals, and then I'm also going to do the Raiders on Friday. And there's no Raiders fans here. No Raiders.
Yeah, of course. You can count me in. I will be there. I will be there.
I've got a teasing Funk here. Funk's a Raiders fan. Actually, I'm glad Mike brought this up. I think Miami got knocked down because of the Xavier Howard situation. What's your opinion?
That's big. I know Corey specifically. I talk about Corey a lot. We literally talk on Instagram and in Xbox parties like every single day. But apparently the Cardinals have been rumored to be wanting to make a trade for him. I don't know if that's accurate. I'm not a Cardinals fan. That's his thing. I know he's just poked fun at me. Hey, we're going to take Xavier Howard. And I'm like, no, that's just not going to happen. But I do think that is a huge situation for Miami. You're talking about losing one of, if not your best corner, recent, DPOI, or is that Aaron Donald? Was it him this year?
Well, yeah, Xavier Howard, who played, I thought, now this is me personally, they gave more money to Byron Jones to play on the other side, but it looked like Howard was their number one corner and Byron Jones was their number two corner. And then they drafted Noah
Igbenogany. That's his name.
Yes. I was going to go Noah Smith. There's 0% chance I'm going to get his name right.
Yeah.
And he was a guy I actually loved getting him late in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
Because this was a guy who's athletic. If you don't know his story, he was a former wide receiver, switched over to the defensive side of the ball, a 4-down player, meaning that he was a special teams demon, coverage units, return game, could do a lot of different things, but he was very raw. So I loved him going to Miami because you're not asking him to be you're not asking him to cover wide receivers as the number one corner, but he played enough and has enough potential that you can get rid of Howard. You can plug in Noah Smith. Can you do his name one more time?
Noah Igbenogany. That's his name.
Noah I. So
here,
you plug Noah I, and you can probably get 85, maybe 80, somewhere between 80 and 90% of what you get out of Howard. You're not getting the same caliber of player. However, you're getting a younger, cheaper player, and then you still got Byron Jones on the other side. That's not terrible. That's not terrible at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
But I do agree, Mike. I think they got knocked down just a little bit, but the over/under's been going up on Miami. I'm going to be a little surprised. I'm going to say this: I am a little shocked that the over money on the Patriots is getting there. I think the Homeland hit me correct when he said that people are saying it's the Patriots. But why is there money going on over 9 wins on New England?
I feel like the main reason that I could see that is the offseason free agency. Like, holy crap, signing the 2 best tight ends in free agency, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Boom, you're automatically, no, this is no disrespect to Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene, the guys we drafted, but those guys, they just weren't it. They were either, injured a lot, or just not getting any reps. Ryan Izzo is the most garbage tight end in the NFL. Glad he's on Houston now. Have fun with that, by the way. You're going to have a tight end who fumbles a lot and can't catch.
Oh,
But I feel like the real big reason why people have the Patriots going over is because of who we picked up in the offseason. Picking up No Hands Nelly, which in my opinion was a little bit questionable, but it's a wide receiver. It's something we desperately needed. Kendrick Bourne has a lot of potential. Jacoby Myers coming off of a breakout season. N'Keal Harry has been showing out in training camp. He's been doing really well.
I loved N'Keal Harry coming out of college. I absolutely loved N'Keal Harry coming out of college. It's so devastating that he hasn't performed up to what I thought he was going to be with the Patriots. But that's actually I'm glad I didn't mention that at all, and I'm really glad you brought that up. Is as how good N'Keal Harry looks, because here's a guy in college. I thought he was going to be an absolute stud in the pros, and it's so frustrating he hasn't come back yet.
And I feel like partially, and this is just me, I feel like, because see, the reason that I feel like he didn't have a stellar of a rookie season aside from his injury is because he was playing under Tom Brady. And Tom Brady's the kind of guy, if he doesn't trust you, he's not going to throw you the ball. That's just
I don't think you trust. Not year one. Remember, he also got injured in training camp, which really hurt his production. But what is your expectations of Harry this year?
I have some certain opinions and certain words that I like to use to describe N'Keal Harry that I will not use on the show.
Okay.
but I will give him the benefit of the doubt. If he can break out, start making these really good catches, because he's not a route runner, so he's just going to have to use his body. He's a physical receiver who's good at jump balls. If he could start doing that this season, my opinion of him will change. But until then, we do not need to talk about that.
Well, you know what? I will admit, because I remember the player's name. I remember the player, but I forgot his name, so I had to look it up while we were chatting. Don't forget the late round pick, you guys, to get back Trent Brown. He's going to be starting right tackle, a guy that didn't pan. I thought it was a major mistake that Vegas gave him so much money, because Vegas wants to run kind of a West Coast passing style offense.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who, if you don't know, he's about 360 to 380, perfect for a running offensive team that I really think the Patriots are going to be. He'll be there as a starting right tackle. And, and I think he'll have a major impact that he didn't have with the Raiders.
And for those who haven't seen how tall and big Trent Brown is, look up a picture of Super Bowl 53 of him next to Aaron Donald. Just go ahead and throw that out there. The dude is massive.
He came in, I know he came to Vegas at 380, and that they were like, that's what he's going to play at.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that you have a guy who could play right tackle and not have to drop weight to get to 380, but that's what you got in Trent Brown. And then you get, your rookie running back out of Oklahoma, 240-pound dude, Damian Harris. I mean, there's a lot of things to like about the Patriots.
Oh,
Denver puts in, obviously, I hate the Pats, but having Miami better. Question mark, not so sure. No Fitzmagic. Tua hasn't proved himself. Old Bill is still the head coach. I'd flip New England and Vince at the end of the season.
That's interesting, and I feel like I'm like mixed. There's a lot of things like you've said. There's a lot of things to like about Miami and New England. There's a lot of question marks about Miami and New England. The big question is right now for Miami, can Tua step up and really show he belongs in the NFL as a starter, not just as a quarterback, as a starter? That is the big question for Miami. In my honest opinion, both teams have a really big quarterback situation issue, because Miami lost Ryan Fitzmagic. They lost him. He's not on the team. He's in Washington now. But they have potential with a young quarterback in Tua. So the question is, can he step it up? Can Cam revert back to 2015 Cam? There's a lot of questions.
Exactly. I mean, and that's exactly why I'm going to pass on putting action on Miami and New England, um, even though I do like both of these teams, and it wouldn't surprise me if both these teams make the playoffs. And Denver Gator has some really great advice. 2 rules for sports betting: 1, always bet on the sure thing, and 2, always remember no such thing as a sure thing. That's just brilliant. And then Mike puts in, I like the Jets under. It's not like they play the Lions twice. I'll be honest. I liked Miami over 8.5. At 9, I don't like it nearly as much, but I actually have to agree. If I had to bet on one of these, I would probably take the Jets in under 6. The only thing that scares me about the Jets is that I do like the building blocks on the offensive and defensive lines, especially what they did the defensive line. I'll probably pass, but I do agree with that. And Robert Hospital, that is an awesome.
Dude was awesome. Like Corey hates Robert Alford. Absolutely despises the man.
If we can all get the threesome together, then you have to explain that story. Nico Collins, right now in Texans training camp, playing like a number 1 wide receiver, is described equal to a veteran wide receiver.
I've heard good things about Nico Collins. See, it's like the Texans. That's one of the reasons I would say the Texans have potential to be a 6-win team. They have a lot of potential, but does Deshaun Watson start? That is your question. If he does not, you are not winning 6 games. I will put money on that.
The thing is, if you're not familiar with Nico Johnson, he sat out last year for COVID, but when he was at Michigan, he flashed big time potential, but there's a lot of quarterback problems at Michigan. But the dude's 6'4", 215. At his pro day, he ran a 4.41. And the thing is, even though he's 6'4", 215, unlike a lot of tall wide receivers, he actually knows how to run routes. Very explosive. I was worried because he didn't play last year how fast he would get up to speed. But if he is able to get up to speed, it wouldn't surprise me if he starts day 1. And I'm going to do a video. I haven't decided when, but I probably might need to do it sooner than later, where I put sleepers for fantasy football owners. And Nico Johnson would be on that list. He's somebody who you could probably get past round 10, who has a good chance to be like a number 2 or 3, or maybe even a flex player on your fantasy football league.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of potential with him. You know,
we got some great comments here, and
I know exactly what he's talking about too.
Dan, you're adding threesomes to your OnlyFans content. I know you dress in your Raiders Speedo, your Chargers socks, and your Broncos nipple tape. All that cocaine is. By the way, I'm not on cocaine. I'm over 58% sure, but I do have an energy drink, and my coffee is almost depleted. I don't know. Maybe the Homeland is hiding with a mountain of coke in front of him. It's definitely a possibility.
I got multiple boxes of Cheez-Its. Does that count? I got multiple boxes of Cheez-Its with a couple bottles of Gatorade.
We got Cheez-Its, Gatorade. I got coffee. No cocaine. It's a cocaine-free show. Cocaine-free show. I'm over 58% sure about that. As a past,
I like it because I'm viewing the stream. Yeah, I'm seeing that right now. Your unbiased, realistic takes on the Broncos. The Broncos, all right, Denver Gator. I got a lot of respect for Denver right now. Denver is a very, very good team right now. Your one question is the quarterback. Is Drew Lock going to step up? If you trade for Aaron Rodgers, you're going to the playoffs. That's a fact.
I do question the coaching staff, because you got the offensive coordinator from the Giants who just, in my opinion, runs a way too conservative system. I think that they should just open up the offense, go run more of a college style, speeded up type of offense. You have so much skill position talent. They have a tight end. If you're not familiar with Noah Fant, just all the athleticism in the world. They are really underusing the guy. And then you also have Fangio, who's going to make the defense solid, but is he willing to take enough chances? And that's another thing that in Bridgewater, you have somebody who's going to make fewer mistakes, but fewer big plays.
Yeah.
And then in Locke, you're going to have somebody bigger. You're going to have more plays. You're going to have more mistakes.
Now,
oh no, go ahead.
Now I will say, if as much as I know it's not going to happen and it's heartbreaking, if Teddy B can go back to his prime back when he was in Minnesota, when he was one of the arguably the best quarterback in the league at the time, oh man, Denver is going to be kind of scary. I'm not going to lie.
Denver has a ton of skill position talent and some really good defensive players. I personally think they should go with Locke and go with the upside, because the thing is that if you're the Denver Broncos, you're trying to beat Kansas City, and Kansas City's not going to be conservative. You have to score points to beat Kansas City. So I like Locke, but that's a training camp battle. I'm really excited, and Denver Gator promised he would keep us up to date about everything. Because one thing I've noticed in social media is that they promoted Locke, but Bridgewater, nobody's mentioned anything about him, which is leading me to believe that they really like Bridgewater. But Denver Gator, you got to keep me informed about it.
I'd actually be interested to hear about that as well. So that'd be awesome.
We're Denver Gator. It's kind of funny. I follow me and you found each other, or now we know each other and we can message on Instagram. I follow Denver Gator on Twitter, and I got a few friends on Facebook. All my social media links are below, and the Homeland, his Instagram. I was running slightly behind today. I'm going to post after the show's over. I'm going to post his Instagram down, and you also have to let me know which account you want. Probably
my sports account. That'd be much better.
I'm going to put that one down in the description. That way you can get some more followers, and we can kind of keep the community, because you and Red Sea and Luke G have provided some great content. And like I said, I'm going to make some money betting on football this year, and I'm going to share all that knowledge. Funk puts in, I'm with you, Dan. I love Terry. Yeah, I mean, Harry coming out, I thought was just going to be an absolute star. And I'm kind of pulling for him, but at the same time, I don't want him to be too good. But, I mean, yeah, I really love this kid coming out of Arizona State. And One Pride 40, how much are you paying? The only fans account stuff's going to come out. Alex puts in, the Broncos are a good team, which I don't believe will be super competitive, as there are other better teams. Broncos or a quarterback away, maybe a few good offensive linemen. They do have a problem on the right tackle position, but they've done a good job drafting offensive linemen the last couple of years. They drafted the rookie center out of LSU. I want to say Cushenberry in the third round, played fantastic. They drafted a local kid out of K-State. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He looks like he could be a Pro Bowl guard. He played left tackle at K-State. They have another offensive lineman that they got that I really like. So they built things around. It's just they gave a ton of money to Juwan James, and he is not playing at all. As a matter of fact, I think they cut him.
Yeah, they did. He's on, I believe he's either in Oakland or somewhere else.
I'm not sure where he's at, but
not Oakland.
I know what you meant, but I just know that except for that. But no, Denver, as a Chiefs fan, Denver really is the only team I'm looking at that could really contend. But they need to fix that. Not only do they need to fix the quarterback position, I think they need to. If they run the same offense they ran last year, I'm not scared at all. But if they open it up even just a little bit, they could be really dangerous.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Denver has the potential to start making the Chiefs and all the Chiefs fans feel real low-key, little nervous. It's a little nervous.
I want to point this out, and I'm kind of glad One Pride 40 said this. By the way, our third-round defensive tackle was given Frank Ragnow-Fitz. Let me just point this out, because there's a lot of talk about training camp. 3 years ago, all Kansas City sports reporters and Kansas City sports fans were furious. They were upset. You know why? Because Mahomes was throwing interceptions in camp.
Yeah.
That's all you heard for months. You had to hear all this worried about Mahomes. You know what happened? He ended up winning MVP. Don't
Yep.
listen to the training camp hype, people. Don't
Nope,
listen to the
don't do
training
it.
camp hype. If you
Don't
did,
do it.
Mahomes would be benched right now. All right.
Here's
Calm
my
down.
advice to everybody out there. Don't listen to anything Shannon Sharp has to say. Okay. That man does not know anything.
Oh
This
no!
man's
Oh no!
This man has bet, and I'm saying this because he's bet against Tom Brady in literally everything. This man
Oh no!
thought he was going to have a slump season in Tampa Bay, wins the Super Bowl. How do you feel, Shannon? How do you feel?
Oh my God! Shots blasted, shots fired. That is awesome. Oh man! Even if Watson doesn't start, which I highly believe he won't, I do think that Houston is a 6-win team. Taylor, when healthy, is good enough for 6 wins, especially if a good front seven and better defense. And Homeland, I'd love to hear your opinion. Alex, I agree.
Oh,
Lovie
yeah.
Smith was a very underrated hire. That Tampa 2 defense is going to be a lot better than what you had last year.
Yeah. I think with Tyrod, if he remains healthy, he doesn't get his lung punctured after an injury, but we don't talk about that. But if Tyrod can stay healthy, that's a 6-win team. If Deshaun starts, which he probably will, I doubt he won't, but you never know. That's more than a 6-win team. Maybe. That is a very big maybe. You don't start either one of those quarterbacks. Yeah, no, I don't see it happening. I don't.
I could see it too, and don't forget you also drafted. Now I wouldn't bank on him, but if it's
Davis Mills, I think was it Davis Mills? Yeah,
he may get a start towards the end of the season, and I would only start him mid-December. I would not ask for him to even play anything before mid-December. But I mean, if you're looking at having, if you're let's just say 3-10. You want to give him a shot the last couple of weeks and see what he can do, and maybe not even a full game. Just if you're completely out of it, you do have that. Denver Gator puts in, not saying this with orange tinted glasses, Drew Lock has matured a lot this season, mental and physical and mechanics. He was a developmental quarterback, full offseason and second year in the system, but at the worst, we have steady Teddy, and I agree with that completely. Then Homeland, what do you think, brother?
Yeah, I agree with that. From what I've heard about him, because I follow a lot of football pages, Drew Lock has definitely improved and matured as both a person and as an NFL quarterback. I think that if he can really show that he's matured, because as you know what they say, actions speak louder than words. They speak much louder than words.
No, I agree here. And Alex puts in, when Dan says energy drink, he means water with Coke in it. He drinks coffee. He skips the sugar and uses Coke, same color. All right, so we're going crazy here. Quarterback training camp battle is almost dead even, keeping score for who wins today. Every day is different. Teddy wins today. Drew wins tomorrow. Neck and neck now. Please keep us informed next week when we do the show, because this is probably the premier training camp battle as far as I'm concerned, because it's 2 quarterbacks. Both of them are very high draft picks, both of them big names in my opinion, and both of them have potential to be starters. It doesn't matter which one starts, the other one could actually get traded sometime during the season to take over a starting spot if a starter does go down.
Yep, absolutely.
And then, of course, a little love to Jawan James. He signed with the Ravens.
Yeah. I didn't know, so that's my apologies to everybody out there. My information was inaccurate. Didn't
one Pride 40 says, "Do you think McNeil will be good though?" And I want to say this. I don't want to rant too much, but I thought he would be a better fit for a 4-3, and what Detroit's going to do is use a 3-4 scheme. And I'm really curious how they're going to do, because I was really expecting Detroit to revert to a 4-3 defense. And so when they drafted him, I love the draft because they drafted a couple 4-3 tackles, but now you're running a 3-4 defense. I have to see something. But I have to admit, I'm a little confused on what the Lions are doing defensively. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because I'm mini rant. I'm going to try to keep this short. You bring in your head coach and your defensive coordinator from the Saints. The Saints went from a 3-4 complicated defense under Rob Ryan to a 4-3. And over the last 4 years, you won 49 games. So when they brought in these two guys from the Saints, I fully expected you to do the same thing. Instead, you're going to throw away a tried and proven method and do something completely different. I don't understand that logic at all. And one thing I keep hearing, I follow a lot of Lions. I got a lot of love from Lions. I keep hearing that they have an improved coaching staff. Where are you getting that from? How many games has Aaron Glenn been a defensive coordinator? He hasn't. He's never been a defensive coordinator before. Don't get me wrong. Dan Campbell, great guy, entertaining. He's fun. He's been a head coach for 11 games. I think his record was 4-7. People want to sound like this is Vince Lombardi here. You don't know what you got. You keep saying you have an improvement in the coaching staff. You really don't. You don't know what you got. So that was kind of like my mini rant. Do I think McNeil will be good? The answer is you don't know. There's so many question marks with the Detroit Lions. So, but I did love him coming out of college, but I loved him playing in a 4-3 defense. So I'm kind of like, let's see what you do. I am getting my cable turned, or I'm gonna use YouTube TV. So I can't wait till I watch the Lions on preseason. I know I'm not going to see exotic blitz packages, but I am excited to see what they do.
So it's going to be really interesting what they do with the offense and Jared Goff. That's for sure.
Oh, I think so too. I think they're going to be a run heavy team. I will say this: I really wanted DeAndre Swift more than I wanted CEH. But CEH has been good. This should be a big year for DeAndre Swift. If knock on wood, he stays healthy. Denver Gator brings up a great question, and I know it's on AFC East question, but it is something that this is a great topic. What is the over/under for the Colts? Wentz and Nelson out, the same injury. Start looking at under, and Titans to win the division next week. Need to chat about the Hall of Fame weekend. Denver Gator, excellent point. I didn't even think about Hall of Fame weekend. We will discuss that next weekend. The over-under for the Colts was, if I remember right, 9. I haven't looked because I'm doing the Colts and Titans in a couple weeks from now. But you do have a good point. I do know the Colts were favored to win the division before the injuries. It's got to be the Titans now.
Oh, yeah. No.
Now, Homeland, what are you thinking, brother?
Yeah, I don't think – unless Jacob Eason starts throwing the ball around like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees like that, Colts, no, not it. Because as far as I've been hearing, the Colts aren't targeting another quarterback. It's going to be Jacob Eason. And I'm like, okay, but I don't like that, but okay.
And Slasher, I didn't have a chance. He says there's still an even line for 10 wins. Wow. And by the way, if you don't know the story about Jacob Eason, this was the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school. He played in Seattle. He went to Georgia. He got injured, and apparently there was a lot of talk that he didn't really take. He was kind of enjoying being the big man on campus, enjoying being the number 1 prospect in the country a little too much. When Jake Fromm took over, he kept the spot. And so he went back up to Washington. And if you watch him play at Washington, there's always been a couple throws he'd have a game that's like, oh my God, but he was so inconsistent. But the arm talent's there, just all over the place. I thought that this was a great pick for the Colts in the 4th round. But if you're going into the season starting, I'm a little surprised that number is 10.
I can't see that. And you reminded me of Jake Fromm, and I'm like, yeah, that guy pretty much ruined his chances of starting the day after he got drafted. I don't know if you heard about that. There was that whole spiel where he was talking about shooting something up or something like that. I was like, dude, really? You just got drafted.
Not only do you make, number 1, you don't put stuff on social media. Number 2, friends in your social media network revealing stuff, and then oh well, you shouldn't have said that. No, they ratted you out for a paycheck. That's lesson 101 when you join the NFL is you got to limit your social circle and don't tweet out stupid stuff. Come on, Fromm.
Yeah.
And
don't do that.
There was talk that he was going to get cut, and the Bills organization, actually, I think they kept him, but if I don't know if he's on the practice squad or if he's third string. Now they brought over Trubisky. There's no chance he stays above third string. Definitely on the chopping block.
Yeah, and I want to talk about another rookie from last year because I don't know what it is, but these rookies these past few years have just been ruining their careers doing stupid stuff when it comes to the government. Case in point, Jeff Gladney.
Oh, you know what?
Yep.
I didn't even talk about this. This is a big thing. The Vikings were very high on this kid. He was going into the season as the number one corner. He was their number one corner. If you didn't hear the story, he was released by the Minnesota Vikings a couple days ago. YouTube's very sensitive about this topic, so
that's we don't have to talk about that. The point is he did something stupid and he got released, and he probably honestly won't be signed for at least another couple of seasons. I don't think anybody's going to take a risk on that.
You know, with the way the NFL is right now, and again, you know, I apologize in advance for those of you who don't know. It's just that this is a very sensitive topic. This is the topic is something that YouTube puts a giant red flag on. So if that doesn't tell you, you could go to ESPN and find out the details. I don't want to say anything, but One Pride 40 brings up a really good point. People overreacting about golf. Listen, I'm telling you this right now. I wish I would have kept records of how many reporters and Chiefs fans were going nuts about the Mahomes interceptions in practice. They were literally going nuts. There was people talking about bringing in a free agent quarterback.
Yep.
There really was. So when you hear about the training camp stuff, in Luke G's show, I didn't listen to the whole thing, but he brought up a really good point. You want to hear about problems. If you have a practice that went perfect, that's not a good thing. That's never a good thing. And is he going to be like? He actually could be. He's talking about Ryan McNeil, the 3rd round pick out of North Carolina. Absolutely, he could be like Fletcher Cox. I really love this kid, and I loved the 2nd round pick out of Washington. Levi Ozurike, I think I probably
Levi Ozurike.
Yes, both guys I liked, but I really think that they're better fits for a 4-3, not 3-4, and that's something that I'm telling you right now. I've been ranting about this for a little bit. I don't understand the logic behind that at all. You had a very successful, better defense that you could run, but instead you're using a 3-4 system. So yeah. And by the way, here's another thing. Don't forget. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna rant just a little more, and then I'm gonna move on. Tom Capers last couple of years has been in Minnesota under Mike Zimmer. He runs a 4-3 defense. So you bring in a defensive coordinator who coached the last several years successfully in a 4-3 defense. So you bring these two together, and what do? You want to run a 3-4 defense. This is what bad football teams do. It wouldn't surprise me if in 2022 they say, we're going to switch our defensive scheme. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, no, but not at all.
All right, I'm sorry. Done with my ranting here. Colts at 10 is really tempting to go under. By the way, thanks that Slasher gets more Jack drinking coffee. Dan or MCDC.
They're just on your head today.
I know. There's no cocaine here on the show, but I was not aware it was 10, and I should have checked before I came in. Under 10, I think would be a great number, and I'll tell you why. I don't think any four. I think really, to be honest, I think the AFC South is really wide open. Me personally, like I said, if Deshaun Watson were to start, the improvements at wide receiver, the defensive scheme, how good? Let me ask you this: Deshaun Watson walks into 2022 taking the Houston Texans to the playoffs, even if they lose 0-50 in the wild, or it would be a wild card game. He can name his own price.
Yeah,
Deshaun, stay in.
He's earned it. I mean, he's earned it.
All right, and then the Colts here. My bad. The Trek. I'm sorry. My bad. Just rechecked. The Colts here. Their line. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, It's 9. Okay, that's what I thought it was, 9. And I don't recommend negative 140 at all. Lions have an okay team, good wide receiver core. I like their front seven. Their defense isn't high for me at all. Plus, I want to see a better quarterback situation. I definitely don't hate the coaching staff. I don't understand the logic of trying to run a 3-4. It's driving me. It's the biggest thing that drives me nuts. And wow, Mike, no. But I want to say one thing. I thought when Andrew Luck retired, I thought in a couple of years he would come back. I did not hear this, though. Is it the Homeland? Is this something you heard?
Yes, this is indeed. Philip Rivers, he said he was willing to return for a team that was in desperate need for a quarterback.
Oh, wow.
Just so happens to be the team he was just on that he took to the playoffs. So maybe we'll see that again. Maybe we'll see Philip Rivers come back and join Indy to try and get them back into the playoffs again. I don't really know. Depends on what they want to do with that and what he wants to do with that.
Well, tell me about Andrew Luck, because I really believe that when Andrew Luck was with the Colts, that he had superstar potential all over. I thought he had all the tools in the world. I also didn't blame him. A lot of people did. I didn't blame him for retiring. It's very frustrating when your body cannot do what you need it to do.
That's not something. It's really not something you can control. It really isn't. There's a podcast out there. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called I Am Athlete. It's got Brandon Marshall, Chad Ochocinco, a couple of the guys in there. And they talk about, there was one episode and they constantly talk about this. There's some things in football that you physically cannot control. And one of those is injury. Yes, you can, better take care of your body. That's not really going to do enough, though, when it comes to playing the game of football. It's not. I haven't really heard much about Andrew Luck. It was more Philip Rivers. If Luck comes back, he definitely won't be as in prime shape. Who knows what he's been doing since he's been in retirement. For all we know, he could have gained weight and
I've heard nothing, but if I'm Andrew Luck, I wouldn't mind coming back to a team in a backup role. And he was a very smart individual. So that's something that I did not hear anything about Luck, and I didn't hear anything about Rivers, but I could see Rivers saying, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, I'll come back to the Colts for 10 weeks. Why not?"
Yeah, absolutely.
The one thing, okay, I'm going to do a few more, and then I want to get to the week 1 matchups here. I think Detroit has a young yet promising coaching staff. They need to prove that their plan going forward, though. Don't need an amazing, yet 100% on board. Levi Ozarike as Grady Jarrett. Funk says Dan pictured the Lions more of a 5-2 than a 3-4. Flowers and Okura more D linemen to the the outside linebacker roles will be. Okay. I know exactly the defense that you're going to run. You're going to run the same defense Bob Sutton ran here in Kansas City. It's basically a 3-4, but your outside linebackers play basically a defensive lineman. And here's the thing: in order for this to work, you need to have press man corners. This means you got to get you have to get Okuda up to speed fast.
Yeah,
and I don't even know who
very
your other
underwhelming.
corners.
Yeah, very underwhelming.
You need corners to run that defense, and you don't have it now. Lattimore and Okuda, very similar type of players. I thought Lattimore was a slightly better prospect. So I know exactly the defense you're running. Kansas City ran the same type of defense. I just think it's a mistake. I think you should have gone with the same defense that was run the last 4 years in New Orleans that won 49 games. Use the tried and true proven method versus something that you ran the 3-4 last year and it was one of the worst defenses in the history of the league.
Yep. That's exactly what it was.
Okay. The 3-4 defense that they're running, the outside linebackers are going to be basically towards the line of scrimmage. It actually, you know what? I have a whiteboard behind me. We've been going on for about 2 hours. Now I could actually draw. I should actually draw it up, and it makes a lot more sense than it sounds. But no, they're outside linebackers, but they're going to play close to the line of scrimmage. The Kansas City Chiefs under Bob Sutton. Slasher. Here's a good thing. Remember the New York Jets with Rex Ryan? It's that defense, except it's going to be a little more zone blitz schemes. And this is something that I should actually draw it up on the whiteboard, but I won't do it. But just take my word for it. It makes a lot more sense than sounds being a 5-2.
Yeah, yeah.
Rivers to Texans confirmed. And did you hear Stafford broke? No, I did not.
I heard about that.
Do we have a? Excuse me. Do we have a time frame of?
I haven't heard. Me personally, I haven't heard of the time frame. I just heard that he broke his thumb.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So for all we know, he could pull, an Andrew Luck like he did. I don't know what team he did that against, but his shoulder got knocked out of place.
Oh damn.
Well, it was a while ago. Stafford got his shoulder like knocked out of place, but he still played the game and threw the game-winning touchdown that same game.
Oh, you're talking about his rookie season in 2008. I've always said Stafford's tougher than a 99-cent steak.
Oh yeah,
and Funk. When they go dime and nickel, they'll use 4-man fronts, and I just think that their base package should have been around the 4-3. Make it simpler. And I feel like I've ranted a long way too much, so I don't want to go into detail, but I'm going to be adamant. I think they're doing the wrong thing. One thing I want to do before we go is I want to talk about the week 1 matchups. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. People are putting a lot of money on Buffalo. As you can see, the line this is what it was when I did my show a couple weeks ago. And then this column is what it is now. And I just put the changes over here. People are putting money on Carolina, and I don't blame them at all because I think Sam Darnold is really going to be out for revenge. So 4.5, that's probably going to go up to 5.
Yeah, so long as he doesn't see ghosts like he saw ghosts against the Patriots, he'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't think I can almost promise you he's not going to have that same situation. And then Buffalo is now going up to 7. I have a hard time believing Buffalo is going to be favored by more than a touchdown.
Oh, no, it'll be a close game.
Well, let me ask you this. Buffalo at home against Pittsburgh, a touchdown's a big point spread. Is it warranted?
I think it is. I think it's definitely not. It's not going to be like I'm using a Super Bowl as a reference. It's not going to be, I believe, Super Bowl 48. Not that kind of score, 48 to 9 or something like that. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a really close score. I say 24-27. Win by about a field goal, not last-minute field goal, but field goal late in the 4th, and Pittsburgh's defense just can't pull it out. I think that's what I think, but I definitely think it'll be a close game.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. I'm definitely not going to put action on either team because I'm kind of thinking the same thing. But one thing I will say is I do think. One thing that, and I'm going to steal this from Luke G when I listened to a show earlier today, is that a lot of these home fields with full stadiums are going to have an unbelievable home field advantage. And that's something that I think week 1, you may want to just put down all the teams playing at home are going to have a massive advantage. So, I mean, Buffalo having a full stadium. I know Kansas City's resorting to. I don't want to touch base on that topic of conversation. Arrowhead Stadium, or they've done some stupid renaming. I'm going to call it Arrowhead because everybody knows what I'm talking about. If it's a full stadium, it's going to be a lot more advantageous to Kansas City, but there's talk now that maybe 16,000 people may be allowed. We got over a month. Hopefully everything gets back to where we have full stadiums when the season starts. But the home field advantage this year for the first week of the season, I think it's going to be massive.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not touching the Steelers-Buffalo game, but I agree. I'd be shocked if Buffalo didn't win. I do like – I I don't know if I'm going to take this one or not. I actually kind of like I kind of like Carolina to cover. 4.5 is kind of a tough one. But the number one game I want to ask you about, Miami will play New England. New England is a 2.5-point favorite. Over under is 45. I have to admit, I do like the under. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. But man, let me ask you something. Let's just forget about the point spread there. Who wins this game?
I gotta give this one to my Patriots here. I think that this will be the game. I think it's gonna revert back to how it used to be. Actually, no, it's gonna be how it usually is. We're gonna beat them usually the first game, and we're gonna lose the second game. That's how it's always been, and that's how it's going to continue to be.
So you heard it here. The Homeland says, go ahead, take a loan out, refinance your house, bet on the Patriots. They're not only going to win, they're going to cover 2.5 points. Guaranteed from the Homeland. All right. Well, look, we've been on the air for about 2 hours. I'm going to get the rest of these questions and then I'll go ahead and sign off. This has been a great show.
Yeah, of course.
The Homeland, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask Red Sea. I'm going to hit up Red Sea as soon as we get off. I'm going to hit them up on Instagram. I'd love to have you both come back on again next Friday after I break down the Patriots and the Cardinals. Tell me what I get wrong in those videos. And then we'll also discuss if anybody has any questions, we can also discuss my Raiders breakdown, and we can just, hey man, we're just going to have a threesome with lots of football knowledge. What One Pride says, what about nickel? It'll be a 4-man set. The thing is, what I want to emphasize is that you have an opportunity to do something that was highly successful with the Saints. It's where you got your head coach. It's where you got your defensive coordinator. And instead, you're going to do something completely different. It doesn't make any sense to me. You have something successful that worked. You bring in a coach and a defensive coordinator that did something successful, but you're going to do something different. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think it makes sense at all, actually.
No, and I mean, you got, and by the way, the Homeland, he's not a Detroit hater. I got a lot of love for Detroit because I got lots of love here, and I'm just telling you, if somebody doesn't have a dog in the fight, Homeland agrees. It doesn't make sense. Am I a believer in golf? The answer is yes, but one thing about having a quarterback is that there's so many external factors. If you're a great running back, you can be a great running back anywhere. With quarterback, it's, do you have the right coaching staff? Do you have the right surroundings? He's got the offensive line. He's got a good tight end. It wouldn't surprise me if DeAndre Swift leads the team in receptions. He may have like 80, 90 receptions this year if he's healthy. The answer is yes, but quarterback is prevalent on a bunch of external outside factors. Homeland, what do you think, brother?
I for one I think Matthew Stafford and the Rams are going to do wonders with things. I think that is a very good team. I think the Detroit with Jared Goff, I think Jared Goff is going to do better in Detroit than he's done in LA. I feel like for the most part, yeah, you got to consider. I personally think Jared Goff was carried by Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. That's just me.
Well, I actually really like the guy, and I think he's a natural passer, which is really underrated. I actually think he could be a really good quarterback. I like the fact that they built a really good offensive line, and they have a really good running back, a really good tight end. If he's going to have any success, they got to get better wide receivers. Listen, I see some guys dropping off, but before you drop off, if you haven't already dropped off, because we're going to wrap it up here in the next minute or two, don't forget, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget, right after I finish the show, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put the Homeland's Instagram page in the description. Definitely follow him. He's going to have me and him have been communicating via Instagram. So definitely sign up and subscribe to his Instagram. Funk puts in, I have a feeling there's going to be another mask mandate in the state. I know in Kansas City, that's what's going on. And I got a bad feeling that it's going to happen, which is unfortunate because I was really looking forward to full stadiums this year.
Yeah. I was too. Trust me.
Yeah. And all right. So, Alec, hopefully everybody gave us a thumbs up here. And I have to finish the barbell game and then got to pick somebody up at the airport. All right. Oh, baseball. Okay. And then Alex, I see him as a bridge quarterback for the rebuild. I think in a perfect world, Goff is your franchise guy, but you don't forget you get 2 first-round picks in 2022 and 2023 just in case, and that's a really great thing for the Lions. But I keep earlier today somebody mentioned 10-7 for the Lions, and it just I promise you, the person who said that's not going to a casino and putting money down on 10 wins for the Lions. I can promise you that. 3 Broncos going to the Hall of Fame this weekend, and that is a good night. By the way, loved having Homeland. Even Homeland
Hey.
phenomenal guest. I've been very lucky because the 3 guests I've had on have all been home runs. So it's mainly because I'm a fantastic host. That's basically what. No, not.
I mean, you're not wrong. I would give that to you. You're an awesome host.
No.
Awesome.
This is so much fun for me to come on here and just talk football. It's my favorite thing in the whole world, and I've been so lucky because Luke G came on. Luke G was awesome. Red C came on. Red C was awesome. I thank you in advance for coming back next week. I think next week's going to be a great show. We can have a threesome, and it's going to be awesome. We can talk. You guys can let me know what I messed up on my breakdowns for the Patriots and the Cardinals, and we'll have more content for the week. Denver Gator, if you haven't already left, keep us informed of the quarterback battle in Denver. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up. And I will put the Homeland's Instagram page in the description below. So that way you can follow him on Instagram. So you guys have a good night. I'll see you guys all next week.